On camera. Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Oh my gosh, it has been a wonderful start of the day, but here we are. I'm going to wait for y'all to join. Let's see, as you're coming on in, can you say hi? Hey, Gia. Hey, Sandra. Good morning. There you all are. Can you just let me know that you all are here? And let's see that that's working. Let's check. Oh, we're trying to do two things at once today. All right, there we are. Hey, Tanya. Good morning. Hey, Grace. All right, I think we're on in both places. Hey, Jamie. Good morning. All right, so as you can see, the one and only surprise. He said he was going to smile. Maybe.
No.
So he's not going to smile. All right, everyone, as your job this morning is to warm him up. So I apologize for being late. We had some fun technology things that we were doing together that here we are. I'm a genius. Sebastian's help. For those of you who do not know, this is my son, Sebastian. And I think the last time you were on here, you may have been...
I was like 12 or 10.
12 years old and looked totally different, like down to here on me. Now he's up to here. Okay, we see you taking care of yourself. Oh my gosh. All right, so I asked Sebastian to join this morning because I'm going to be talking about something that him and I had a conversation months ago. He just like walked into the kitchen and was sharing with me some advice that he was giving to his friends and kind of a philosophy that he lives by in his life. And I was like, I have to bring you on Facebook Live one day just to talk about this. And my intention had been that he would do the whole talking, but this morning we're going to kind of like split time. So I'm going to talk really fast because I want you to hear from Sebastian. So we're talking about your part in wealth creation, what to do and what not to do. And I'm going to go really fast. Where did my little whiteboard go? Thank you. I'm going to go really fast because I want to get to the good stuff, which is Sebastian. So as we're talking about what to do and what not to do, I'm going to use an example that I think every woman can relate to. Imagine that you are in the mall. You walk into the mall and you go to the directory because you want to figure out how to get to where you want to go, right? So for now, you are here. Let me just shade that in. You know that spot on the directory that says you are here. That's where you are right here. And your goal is to go over here. And I've decided this morning that we're shopping at Chanel. So we want to get to this store, Chanel. We want to go from here, where you are right here on the directory, over to Chanel. And this principle, this example, I just want you to think about this because it's a very simple way to understand this law that I'm about to share with you this morning. So I want you to think about this in terms of, if you want to get from here to here, you want to get from where you are in the mall you just entered to Chanel, what do you have to do? What's the thing that you actually have to do? Don't see my son laughing at me? Do you all see that?
Yeah, her.
I've converted you to a Chanel lover. That's my husband, Deanna. My husband is a Chanel lover. So here we go. You want to get from here. You want to get from where you are right now in the mall over to the Chanel store. I want you to tell me, Chantel says, follow directions. I want you to say exactly the exact thing that you have to do to get from here to here. Let's see. Come on. I'm not gonna cue you all any more than that. I want to see somebody give me the answer. Decide where you want to go. Yeah, you've decided you want to go to Chanel. You can see the directions, but what's the actual thing that you have to do? Look at the map. Barbara says, walk. You literally need to start moving. To get from here to here, you literally need to start moving. You actually have to walk. Now, there's tons of ways you can get there, right? There's the straight and direct way. You just go straight there. You can go, you know what? My son's laughing. You can go, I want to go the scenic route. I want to go that way. You can go like most women. Well, let me go to Victoria's Secret first, then Macy's. Oh, look down here, Nordstrom's has a sale. Oh my gosh, look over there, Coach has some nice things. Michael Kors, right? Ooh, Louis Vuitton. I wanted Chanel. Let's see what's in Louis Vuitton. And then you like go all around and eventually you get there, right? That's another way that you could get there. There's the bottom line is in order for you to get from here to here, you're going to have to walk. You're going to have to take some action, right? So what happens is that you have lots of options. You know exactly where you want to go. But what I see a lot of women doing, and I just want to have this conversation from the context of you're doing all the right things. You have set your intentions, you know exactly where you want to go. You're doing your daily gratitude. You are all the spiritual things. You are on lock for all the spiritual things. You're a 10 out of 10. But my friends, this is what I see happening. And then you stay here. You will never, there is no circumstance under which you get to here if you do not move, if you do not take action. So what is your part in wealth creation? To keep moving. Doesn't matter which route you take. Really, that's irrelevant. And truth be told, your part is to keep moving. God, universe, source's part is to decide the route. Because truthfully, sometimes people will say, Tasha, well, what's the right action? I feel like I'm not on track. I feel like I keep getting off track. I'm taking the long route. Like the route is not the issue. The issue is, are you here? Hold on. Are you here? Or are you in constant action? If you are moving, no matter which way you go, you end up here. But if you are not, you will not move. And I said in my email to you, I want to talk about this from the context of what makes it hard versus what makes it easy. When you are moving, you might think taking action is hard. The truth is, it's not. Staying stuck here, procrastinating, trying to perfect things, trying to figure out the exact, let me stand here and look at the map all day to find the perfect route, which is the shortest direction to Chanel. That is frustrating as all hell. It literally wears your energy. It makes you feel unfulfilled. You end up feeling worried. You're feeling like you're not making progress. You're beating yourself up. That is hard. That's what's hard. But if you're in constant movement, what happens is you must get there. And so what I see in women, and I'm just going to call it what it is that you're confused about what you should be doing and what God should be doing. You do not need to worry about the route. You need to know where you want to go and you need to take action and just keep moving. That's it. Any which way you want to move, because sometimes if you take this route, the reason God, universe, source has directed you in this way is there's something at this stop that you need to get that you don't have right now. And when you go over here, there's something else over here that you need to get, to learn, to change, to transform, to work on. And eventually you get there. And those of us that maybe it looks like we took a direct route. Oh man, I'm looking at so-and-so and it just seems like she got it all figured out. She just started here and now she's here. That's not true. I promise you, everybody's looks like this. Everybody, no matter how you from the outside look at it, and it might look direct to you, it's not. We're all going on some trajectory that looks like that, right? So what I want you to understand is to be crystal clear about your part. And I'm going to read from my favorite book, The Science of Getting Rich. It says, this is the crucial point in the science of getting rich, right here, where thought and personal action must be combined. There are very many people who consciously or unconsciously set the creative forces in action by the strength and the persistence of their desires, but they remain poor. Why? Because they do not provide for the reception of the thing they want when it comes. By thought, by knowing where you want to go, stuff starts happening for you. but by action, by actually moving, you get there. It's the only way. There is no universe, world, anything under which you stay here and you get what you want. None. So what's your part? To take action, to keep in constant and continuous movement. Now, I'm going to allow my son to tell you his version of what I just said. And just because I don't know how long he's going to go, he has 2 pages of notes for y'all that he wrote last night. But here's what I want you to do before I have Sebastian come on. We are getting ready to do our, hang on a second, I'm going to type this in here for all of you. We're getting ready to do our embodiment week, right? So I want you all, just so we can get this out of the way, so we can focus on Sebastian. I want you all to type in Facebook Messenger, if you are, or on Instagram, type in the comments the word embody. Type the word embody. We have an entire, hold on so you can see this. It's a whole worksheet that we have for Embodiment Week. And when you type the word embody, you will get the worksheet, you'll get the instructions, everything that we're going to do for an entire week next week to embody the energy of wealth. Just like taking action, in order to become the version of you that's wealthy, you have to embody her now. You don't do the things and then you get to be her. That's not how it works. You be her now and then you become her. So you embody the wealthy version of you now. And you know, those of you that did this with us last year, you know how much fun this is. For an entire week, I literally every day give you a thing to do. And the first day, don't be yawning on my Facebook Live. The first day, we're gonna dress like your millionaire self. Now, people misunderstood this last year, and they were all posting pictures of themselves in the past when they felt like they were dressed like a millionaire. No, next week, Monday, day 1, that's your day to dress on that day like your wealthy multi-millionaire self, and then post a picture. So you have an entire week to choose your dress. I already have my dress chosen. Get your makeup, your jewelry, your everything that you need, so that we're going to post pictures of what we look like, how we feel, how we're being as our wealthy self. That's day number 1. But to get the worksheet, to see all the days so you can have the week planned out to be an embodiment of wealth, type the word embody in the comments. And then, yay, Camille says, I got my checklist. Yay. All right, great. Type the word embody. Whether you're watching on Facebook or Instagram, and then check your DMs. I'll send you the checklist. All right. And now it's time for Mr. Chen. Let me get out of the way.
So I wanted to start just by saying hi, good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. Hopefully I can, provide you guys some value this morning. But today I'm going to be talking about compounding effects of effort. For the most part, I agree on everything that my mom kind of laid out, except for one thing, which this might be kind of a gap in knowledge just because of a gender norm, perhaps. But one of the things she mentioned that I had no idea she was going to say was that what she sees with women is that a lot of the time, women are just not taking action. Is that the problem? So a lot of time women are not taking action. Everything I have to say is built on the preface that, or the assumption that you're already planning on taking action. So let's
no. We all, I mean, I've been guilty of this too. We all plan to take action. Oh, we plan to. But then we kind of stay right here, like trying to find, well, what's the perfect action? You know, we kind of stay stuck at the beginning. What's the perfect action? When should I do it? What should it look like? That's kind of the problem. We're not taking consistent action, or we start moving and then we like pause and we procrastinate. We think about it. We overthink. What we want to do is get to consistent action. That's what I see a lot of people missing, that piece.
Okay. Anyway, so what I had to say was, in my experience, most people get bursts of productivity. So like my mom mentioned, it's not that consistent action that we're necessarily looking for, what we're aiming for. A lot of the time we'll get some motivation, some form of motivation where, let's say, either that could be late at night or one morning you just wake up and you're feeling it and you're like, wow, okay, let's go. Like, I want to get this done now. And then, you might do something, maybe you might stick with it for like a week or two. And then next thing you know, you're back where you started and you're like not really doing anything. You're kind of in the same position. Like my mom said, you're going from store to store. That's not exactly what you want. And usually what this is that you're suffering from shiny object syndrome. And I'm sure a lot of business owners, you guys are familiar with that shiny object syndrome. If not, it's just where your interest is kind of piqued by one thing, and instead of sticking with it and making real progress with it, you just stick with it as long as you're entertained by it until you find something else to be entertained by, which is why another reason why your consistency, your efforts, it's not paying off. It's because you're not being consistent. You're only following what is most interesting to you rather than what is best for you. And when you're suffering with this, it's hard to get motivated, and it kind of it it stops you from reaching your goals. There's really two options. You either quit after a while, or you don't put your full time and energy into it. And that's not saying it. When you get hit with shiny object syndrome and you know that the solution is to stick with something and put your full time and energy into it, I'm not saying drop your duties. Like, let's say you're a mom, for example. I'm not saying spend less time with your kids, something like that. It's just think about what is within your control. It's a lot of the times like what you're thinking about. What are you doing when you're not putting in work towards your goal, type of thing. So when you're not working, like, let's say even adults, you're spending 6 hours on TikTok, or your thoughts are just like, you're not thinking about how you can make progress even when you're not working, because that isn't necessarily work. What energy does that take out of you just to think about your goal? And if you truly do like what you're doing, then you should be thinking about it even when you're off and when you're not working, because it shouldn't be work. It should just be your thoughts. And that's when you make the most progress, is when you're not really sitting down and sitting on your computer doing work. It's when you're thinking about it, developing your own thoughts, and creating a strategy to then reach your goal, if that makes sense. And
You might want to know he's 17. Like, yeah. So you know what I would love for you to share? I know you have your notes, but you walk into the kitchen and you're having a conversation with your friends, and that's how this came about. You actually had this conversation with them because why? What did you see them doing that you were like trying to give them some guidance on?
so what I see with my friends is that they kind of go through this cycle where and I'm sure this is not just, because of our age. This is just a lifetime thing. People get stuck in this. It's a cycle of, sometimes they're all into it, they want to be productive, and then sometimes some months they're just like, yeah, well, this is more important, and I'm not really thinking about this, or maybe they just feel guilt, and then they feel guilt because they're not making progress. And it all really connects to like what I said before. It's all about consistency, because if you're not being consistent, then of course you're gonna not see progress. You're not gonna feel it. You're not gonna feel good about where you are, because you're not sticking with it and actually growing. So can I continue with my notes?
Yes,
Okay.
continue with your notes.
So it it's all natural things. It all comes down to human nature, because it's really human nature to be distracted, choose the easy way out. It's human nature to want to quit, feel unnecessary doubt, and have anxiety. But it's also human nature, like, those are all things within our control. We can choose how we react and feel towards things. This is, I'm sure it's a part of manifesting. Like, you're in control of what you think, and you're in control of what your goals are. So use that to your advantage. They're all natural. These are things that are within our control. So we can also think in a positive way. We can think, instead of quitting, we can think to be persistent. Instead of having unnecessary doubt, we can have unexplainable confidence. Instead of having anxiety about the future, we can be detached from it and feel fulfilled that it's already going to come to us, that type of thing. Anyway, just trying to pertain to my audience today. So what does this have to do with effort? And especially for business owners, people will tend to quit or revert to limiting thoughts or actions to stop them from growing. And that's because this might be like a money trauma, I think. So it's like,
Not when he quotes my work. A
So-
money trauma. Let's hear it.
it's very similar to that in the sense of like you have a subconscious belief that you cannot reach a certain level of success, growth, wealth, whatever that might look like. It doesn't necessarily mean financially. It could also just mean a learning curve where you stop, your learning slows down, your progress slows down, even if it's not with money, just because you don't believe that you can reach a certain level. And that's just obviously not true. We're all humans, we're all the same, we all have the same amount of potential, except for things like athleticism. That's a bit different, but we all have the same amount of potential. It's just sometimes it might take some people more effort. And all that matters is that if you're consistent with it, that you'll reach that goal, because you can be as intense as you want. Like I said, a lot of people will have short bursts of intensity towards an effort, intense effort, instead of consistent effort. And they're not going to reach their goal that way. That's because it's you're not sticking with it. You're just being intense. It's like you're putting all your energy into one thing. And it's like, this is kind of a cliche type of thing, but it's very true. It's like, just do it tired. If you can do it when you don't want to do it, you will reach it like where you want to be. It doesn't matter what your goal is. I don't care what your goal is. You can reach it one day eventually if you just do it every single day, day in, day out. And this can kind of be drawn out. So this was the graph I showed my mom.
So when people ask him how he gets like this, they're like, I want to meet your mom. Can you introduce me to your mom? And he's like, this is not my mom. This is me.
That was a while ago.
But now he says he gives me 50% credit. That's right. Beatrice says, do it when you don't want to do it. Do it tired. Oh my gosh. All right, here comes Sebastian's graph. Way prettier than mine.
So I'm going to add something after that I kind of have not shown you either.
Okay.
So this is kind of a way to think about it.
I'll hold it for you. Go.
All right. So obviously down here you have time. As more time goes on, your effort will decrease and your results will increase. Now, this kind of seems like for some, it might be like an orthodox, because it's like, oh, well, how can my results get better while my effort is decreasing? And that makes sense, but I'll kind of explain. It's because all of the effort you're putting in here, this is the hardest part of whatever you do. It's the learning stages, setting your foundation, and it's not even necessarily the hardest part just because of the effort you do actually have to put in. It's also the hardest part because of your results. How can you feel good about putting in this much effort when you're getting this much results? Of course, that feels terrible, and that's fine. That's normal. But you have to understand, like, you have to be aware of this, because you'll never reach this side of the graph, anything over here, if you quit before right here. And that's kind of like the point where you start to realize, like, oh, okay, my results, like all this effort I put in over here is going to pay off and my results will skyrocket. So usually where people tend to quit, business owners, normal, whatever it might be, maybe you want to learn a new skill, like you want to learn how to play the guitar or something, or you did just start a business. Usually where people quit will be right here, when your burst of motivation has burnt out. So you've put in all this effort because you have a ton of motivation to put in the time and work, and you do that, but then you start to get tired and your motivation starts to burn out. You get shiny object syndrome. You found something else that you think is easier and you can put in less effort, but in reality it's all the same. And you feel like you've put in all this effort, but your results are just not there. If you're aware of this, you are right. You're about to reach the point where literally it all pays off. And if you just keep moving forward and stick with what you're doing, you will reach like unbelievable, like it's just unimaginable. You're going to reach your goal and even more, because this is infinite. It could go on for forever as long as you just keep pushing. So what I try to kind of explain is you need to be aware of this so that you can get from this side of the graph to this side, where you have put in all this effort to set your foundations and learn. And now all you have to do on this side of the graph is apply. It's literally just application. That's why this side is so hard. It's because you're learning. You're not really, and I think that's the most valuable part of the process is the learning and setting your foundation, because the more you learn, the easier this half gets, and the quicker you can reach the side where your effort begins to pay off, you get results. If you're just stopping while you're learning, you're never going to get to like the really good parts where you actually start to get those results, because what's the point of doing all that work and learning all those skills if you're not getting the results you want? You learn and earn, if anything. Like, that's why you get into it, right? That's why you start. It's because you have some kind of desired destination that you want to reach. And another way I kind of want to graph it, do you have something I can wipe it with?
I'll get you something.
That's fine. It's fine.
Okay. Gonna have another graph, people. I am so proud, and trust me, the kitchen conversation was like not even at this level, and I was impressed. So Beatrice says she's crying from this awareness. Learn and earn. That's what we're doing when we start our businesses. We're learning and earning. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So this is really what it feels like. So this is it, and you'll kind of notice this is literally the exact same thing as the other graph, except it's upside down. This is what results look like last time. On this graph, this is what it looks like. And this might be even more realistic to most people. I think they're both right, and this is kind of why. As time goes on, you get more and more results, but it kind of starts to flatten out. And you'll, this graph doesn't necessarily have effort, but you can just imagine it there. Imagine it like your effort, it takes less effort still, but you're not getting as big of a gain as when you initially started, which is kind of the opposite of compounding. I think this is not necessarily correct in the sense that this is really what will happen and that your results will start to slow down. I think this is more correct in the sense of this is what it feels like inside. And this is why, this is like a better way to understand why people will stop early, because when you're at the start, you're putting in all that effort to learn the skills, set the foundation. It feels like you're making a ton of progress because, I'm putting in all this work. I'm bound to make a ton of progress, right? Of course. So that's what it feels like on the inside, but really you're just, not making the real results you want. Because like, let's say your goal is to start a business. You really want to start that business because you want to reach some level of financial freedom, right? If you're just learning and you're not making money, then you're not actually working towards your goal, or you are working towards your goal, but you're not.
It doesn't feel like,
it doesn't feel like it because you're not making those real gains that you want. So once you start to reach these later stages, your effort still slows down, but the results don't feel the same because you're making so much more than when you began. I wish I had.
So I'm going to make this really real for you. I know you got your notes, but I'm going to put this into like real context. My son decided that he did not want to go the traditional route of getting a job like most high schoolers. He wants to be an entrepreneur. He wants to do marketing. He was very clear on his path. And so I tried to tell him he needs to get a job. And he was like, that's not my plan. I don't, he's learning the effort I'm going to put in at the grocery store. And what I'm going to learn is not for me going to get me to the result I want with the time I want. So I would rather, okay, hold on. Let me tell this though. I would rather go start my business and we have to go look at the time. So anyway, he starts on this business track, and I'm just going to shorten the story. I'll bring him back to tell it to you some other time because this is what happens to most of us. He starts on the business track. He incorporates his business. He gets his EIN number. Like, he does it by the book. He does everything. It's amazing. I'm totally impressed. He starts knocking on doors. He decides on a niche. He goes knocking on doors. He's doing all the things. None of it is working. He decides, okay, I'm going to go a different route, right? He starts doing something else. He puts himself out there to get work in his field. He gets hired. I think I've told you this story. It turns out to be a total scam. I mean, I remember he was sitting outside my office, just discouraged to the nth degree. And this is why I'm proud. All this talk here, it's amazing. But let me tell you what happened next. He was so discouraged, everything that he was doing, and he wanted the money so he could play volleyball. That was his goal, right? So I wouldn't have to pay for it. He would pay for it. And he was like, oh, I'm going to get the money. And then it didn't work out. He was being scammed. And he got up and went back to the drawing board and just kept going and going and trying to find a different direction. And I've told him to his face, and I'll tell him here in front of you why I say and why this is his motto. He was like, I understand that you're proud, but like giving up is not an option. Like not continuing, like, okay, I'm discouraged in this moment, but I understand where I'm going. I know the results, and I know that's going to make a sound. I know that I have to stay consistently moving forward. It's the only way that I'm going to get my results. And that is my proudest mother moment. He just kept going. And amazing things have been happening for him since. So go ahead. Wrap up. We got to go.
I forgot. Sorry. So sorry, you guys. I forgot what I was going to say, but I kind of just, can you hold it, please? I just remembered. So the reason it feels like this is because of your limiting beliefs. That's the only reason why. It's because and this is true. It's a limiting belief because when you believe you have to put in so much time and effort and work to get results, that's why it feels like this, because you genuinely believe that you can't go get anywhere. You can't get results. You can't reach your goal unless you're putting in an X amount, like a large amount of effort the entire time. And then when you start to get better and better results, it feels like less because your effort is really decreasing. And that's just not fair to yourself. It's a limiting belief to believe that you have to put in the same amount of effort consistently over time. It's a limiting belief to believe that you have to put in a super intense amount, unreasonably intense amount of effort for the same amount of time to get certain results. It's the consistent effort, the achievable goals like that you can do every day. That's what gets you to here, where you actually start to get results. And that's kind of why it feels like this. It's because you don't believe that it should be that easy when really it can be.
You don't believe that it should be that easy. I swear to God, I did not tell this kid to say that. But if you know me, you know I'm all about wealth with ease. It's a limiting belief that causes you to stop, that causes you to think it needs to continue to be hard. That's just truth. It's science, right? It is Sebastian's chart. I don't know what else to say to you. All right, everyone. Thank you, Sebastian, for coming on and sharing. You are amazing. I'm so incredibly proud of you. I really am. And I know you probably think I sit here and teach him all this stuff. I do not.
She didn't tell me anything. So that's kind of why I was like kind of messy. I had no idea what I was supposed to be talking about, but I figured something out.
There you have it. All right, everybody. So type the word embody before I go. Remember, type the word embody in the comments. Check Facebook Messenger right now. Get yourself signed up because next week we're doing Embodiment Week. Have a great morning, everyone. Bye. Thanks, Bastian.